Hi, this is Cheryl for Cut at Home. Today I have a beautiful spring card for you. If you're like me, you're in the midst of a really, really cold snap, like record-breaking lows, as well as snow on the ground. So we need to see some promise of spring. And that's why I decided I was going to do my springtime bouquet here. The dies that I used are the Joy Crafts Spring Flower Die Set. There's actually a couple of these. So you want to check and make sure which one you're getting. They're both pretty. I just like this one a little better. They're more recognizable flowers and that sort of thing. I used a Sizzix embossing folder with butterflies. I'll have the specific name for you on all of these things on my post over at the Cut at Home blog. For my little flower wrap here, I'm using Spellbinder's Lacy Circles. So I've got the next to the largest one. It's perfect. It makes a cute little doily. I don't think you can see it, but I've used a patterned washi paper down here. I wanted the flexibility of washi. I was looking for a pattern paper, but I didn't find one that I liked. So the washi paper works very, very well for my paper cone. It's perfect. And then last but by no means least, my Sentiment Thinking of You by Elizabeth Craft Designs. Love the words, makes things so much easier when you can just die cut those words. So this is a very, very easy project to do. Again, it's an A2 card, so my back layer is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. My pattern paper layer, and it may be hard to see, but this is actually pattern paper. There's little bits of like color in the paper here. That's cut 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And from there, I embossed it with the butterfly embossing folder. Again, butterflies remind people of spring, and I was in need of a strong reminder today, and the last several days actually. Now for the lacy circles, there's lots of different sizes that you can use. You want to pick one that's a good size to go with the flowers that you're using. I picked this next to the largest. It's a fairly decent size circle, but you need to have something fairly decent till you get it all wrapped up in there. You want to be able to accommodate the flowers, and they're actually kind of tall. They're maybe 2 1/2, 3 inches tall. So we want to be able to accommodate those well on the card. Actually, these stems can always be trimmed off because you're not seeing the base. As you'll see in the finished product here, you only see the tops of the flowers showing and a little bit of these upper leaves that sort of extend to the side of each of them. So it's very, very easy peasy. So I cut one of this second to the largest lacy circle using my washi paper. Whatever paper that you have will work. Vellum would be nice as well, although if the vellum's too translucent, you'll see stems through, which maybe is a problem and maybe is not. You just have to see how it looks. I like the washi because it's not going to show through. And again, it gave me a flexible paper to work with. Now, when I cut my flowers, I knew that I wanted to make sure I had the greens as well as the bright colors. So what I did is I cut a strip of paper that was 1.5 inches high by whatever width, it doesn't matter. And I cut my flower heads only from the 1.5 inch strips. So I had a pink strip, a purple strip, and a yellow strip to take care of my 3 different flower types. And I just cut those flower heads. Then I followed through with my greens, and I did use different greens for each of them. That's going to add to the depth. And you can see where I cut the full flower out of my green. I cut 5 flowers because I wasn't sure how many I was going to need. Actually, you can't see it so well with that in the background. And so I just kept right on going. But again, the full flower, because then what I did was trim the little end of the stem off my flower head, and I glue dotted it right onto the green. And it's perfect. It adds a little dimension to the flower and everything else. To further add dimension to my flowers, I just grabbed my colored pencils and I added a little color here and there to try and brighten them up and add to the embossed detail that will come out. You only have to cut these dies, and this beautiful embossed detail comes right along with it. So Joy Crafts has thought of everything in terms of giving us that embossed detail. You just want to add some highlights to make it all work. Again, I cut 5 of everything. I only use 3 of everything though, so you wouldn't need to cut quite so many. I'm never quite sure when I start out what I'm going to use. So from there, I folded my paper cone here. The easiest way to do it is to sort of find the center at the bottom and fold the sides in. It's a soft fold. You can see from the side here that I haven't pressed it flat. I don't necessarily want it flat. I want just a little dimension. I'm going to lose some of that when the card gets mailed, and that's okay. But for right now, it makes my flowers stand up, and I think they'll return to that state once they're freed from the envelope. So I began by placing my flowers in, one of each. At the very back, those are typically the taller ones. You can see my daffodil here is maybe a little bit too tall in comparison with the purple flower, but it's okay because you can see each and every one of them in there. In between the layers of flowers, I added some little quilt strips that I crimped just to add some filler in there to hold the flowers apart a little bit. They show a little, but they're in the same colors that I used for my project, sort of an off-white, a pink, a purple, and a yellow, so they don't stand out too much. They're just there to provide the filler, which is what I wanted to keep my flowers from laying just flat on top of one another. So that was really about it for assembly. It's very, very easy. Added my bow, my sentiment, thinking of you. If you don't do this, you should consider it the back of my paper, because this part never shows. You can cut out what you need to. So if you're using the background paper to do your sentiment, go ahead and cut it from the background piece. No one will ever know. No one's going to disassemble your card to figure that out, and you've saved another piece of paper. And you can do another card later on. So that's pretty much it. That's my simple, easy peasy spring thinking of you card. Hope it's brought you a little hope for spring. It does for me. I can't wait to see those daffodils and tulips when they come out in bloom. Thanks for watching. Bye.